Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Joanna Lipp. I am one of the dietitians at the Wilmot Cancer Center, and I wish to welcome you to the Pluta Integrative Oncology and Wellness Center's Cooking for Wellness demonstration. Today, we're going to talk about healthy whole grain salads that you can make for summer. I want to start by talking a little bit about whole grains. Hopefully, you can see the screen that shows the picture of a whole grain kernel. A whole grain is essentially the seed of a grain plant. It contains 3 different layers: the bran, the endosperm, and the germ. This is a whole grain. When grains are refined, the bran and the germ are removed, leaving only the endosperm. This actually reduces the nutritional value of the grain such that you lose about 20 or 25% of the protein, and up to 17 different nutrients can be reduced when a grain is refined. 5 of those nutrients get added back in, but you lose a lot of B vitamins and minerals like iron, copper, and zinc, and most of the fiber. So today we're going to touch base on how to use these. If we scroll down a little bit on the handout, and you'll have this handout after the presentation, so you can refer to it a little bit later. So we've touched a little bit on the nutritional benefits of the whole grains. What I want to touch on now a little bit is the cooking tips for whole grains. Grains are actually pretty easy to make, but whole grains take a fair amount of time. They generally take 30 to 60 minutes, depending on which grain you have. They're pretty easy to cook. You take a defined amount of the grain, and you measure out a certain amount of liquid. You put it in a pan, and you cook it for however long it takes to cook them to the desired consistency. There are guidelines for how long to cook different grains and how much water to grain to use, or you can use broth or juice even for that matter in order to cook your grains. We do have a little handout on that at the end of this packet of information for you. We're not going to go through that right now, but I just wanted to let you know that we are giving you some further information on that. So cooking on the stovetop is the most common, but some people are cooking their grains in a pressure cooker. If you do this, you want to use the rice or multigrain function to get an al dente texture for your grains. From start to finish, using the pressure cooker for whole grains will take probably about 30 minutes. And in this situation, you do want to put a little bit of olive oil or canola oil in with your grains and stir it around to coat the grains a little bit, which helps them not stick together quite so much, and then you don't get quite so much foaming in your pressure cooker either. You also want to use the natural pressure release setting because that kind of acts as a standing time and allows the grains to finish cooking. A good thing about grains, whole grains, is that you can cook them in big batches. They will keep for several days in the refrigerator, or you can actually put them in the freezer. If you choose to put them in the freezer, you might want to put them in smaller amounts. You may want to take, for example, a sandwich bag and put 1 cup of grain in it and freeze small batches at a time rather than freezing 4 or 5 or 6 cups of the grain at once. So at this point, we're going to switch to our recipes. Today, we're going to be doing a Faro cherry and walnut salad and a black bean and brown rice salad with mole dressing. I'm going to start with the Faro and cherry salad. This is Faro. This has been cooked. It has a very nutty whole grain texture, as you can see. And if you are shopping for it, you find it in something like this. This happens to be the Wegmans brand, but there are certainly other brands out there. And it's just dry grain that's on the shelf. So we're starting with our farro that we have already cooked. We're going to make our dressing. We're going to start with the dressing. So we have a little bit of olive oil in a small mason jar. To that, we're going to add vinegar. This is a balsamic vinegar. This one happens to be a sort of special vinegar. This is a sweet cherry flavored vinegar. You can use regular balsamic vinegar. This is fairly expensive. I happen to have some that I use on occasion, primarily to make this salad. The flavored vinegar gives it a little bit of an extra sweetness and a little bit extra flavor. So we're just going to go ahead and mix all of these things into our mason jar. We've got our balsamic vinegar. We've got a little bit of honey for sweetness. We've got a little bit of Dijon mustard here, a couple of tablespoons of Dijon mustard. The Dijon mustard is actually really helpful if you're using it to make a salad dressing because it acts to sort of help emulsify your salad dressing, which keeps the oil from separating out. We've also got our tablespoon of lemon juice here, fresh squeezed lemon juice, and a little bit of salt and pepper just to give it a little bit of extra flavor. The beauty of a mason jar is you can just put the top on and shake. This one's probably a little bit full, but we'll get it to combine. It really doesn't take that much to just get that together by shaking. So now we have our dressing that we're ready to use. I'm just going to set that aside over here. And we're going to mix just a few other ingredients. We're going to mix cherries. And I want to show you a really interesting way to pit cherries. This is a cherry pitter. All you do with this is take your cherries, put them in here. Give it a good whack, and the pits come out, and you've got pitted cherries. You can just cut these in half, and you're ready to go. It really speeds up your prep time, and if you've got kids or grandkids, they love to do that. My 6-year-old grandson absolutely loves that. So we're mixing our cherries, some walnuts, some celery, and a couple of herbs. We've got a little bit of parsley that we have cut up, and a little bit of mint that we have cut up. We're going to mix those all together with our dressing, and that's really it. This is a very simple salad. My bowl is a little bit full, so I have to be a little bit careful here with combining my ingredients. But you get a beautiful salad that incorporates some of the summer's freshest fruits with some lovely whole grains and a lot of little taste elements with the herbs and the honey and the balsamic vinegar. So that's the first salad that we want to show you. And it actually smells really good. I know you can't smell it. I wish that you could. But it is lovely and very, very delicious. Bear with me a second while I switch out my ingredients, and we'll move on to the second salad. Our next salad is going to combine both beans and rice. So we've got brown rice that we've got cooked up. Brown rice does take a longer time to cook than white rice. This is our brown rice already cooked and cooled. It looks a lot like white rice except that it is brown, but it is more nutritious. Same story goes for this as for other grains. When they polish it to take off the bran, you remove some of the nutrition from it. So we're going to start by making our dressing once again. Again, we've got a mason jar that's got our oil already in it. And we're going to add in our ingredients. We've got some cider vinegar. We've got cocoa and a little bit of orange zest. When I say cocoa, I am talking about basically unsweetened dark cocoa that you might use for baking like this. We're not talking about a milk chocolate. We're talking about the dark chocolate. So we happen to have combined both of those. Our orange zest, we have a little bit of orange juice to go in there. And we have what we call the paste from Chipotle peppers in adobo sauce. These are common in Mexican cooking. And again, you can buy these out at the store. And the paste just looks like this. You can buy them that with the peppers in them. The peppers are actually smoked and dehydrated jalapeno peppers that are then rehydrated with a little bit of vinegar and creates this sauce. It's really fairly spicy. It does it adds a good kick. So this combination is common in for a mole sauce, and we've kind of translated into salad dressing today. But it is fairly common in Mexican and Spanish cooking to have a mole sauce, which combines a little bit of heat with a little bit of chocolate flavor and some other savory flavors. So again, we're just mixing things together in our mason jar, and we will have our dressing ready to go. To our rice, we're going to go ahead and mix in our black beans. Mixing these beans and rice together creates a very complementary protein. A very good thing to do as you're working with plant-based protein sources. We have a little bit of green onion that we're mixing in. Some sliced up red peppers. A little bit of parsley. You can use cilantro. Cilantro is very nice in this if you like it. A lot of people don't, so we're just substituting parsley today. We also have pepitas. These are basically pumpkin seeds. These also add a little extra punch of both crunch, flavor, and protein. So we've got our ingredients mixed together. in the bowl for the most part. We're going to pour our dressing in. We're just going to get these things combined. And then the very last thing we're going to do is fold in our spinach that we're going to use. You can make this salad up to this point a day ahead and just mix in your salad greens right before serving. If you put everything together, including the greens don't hold well in something that's a little bit wetter like this when you've got the dressing in there. So you can make this pretty much ahead of time and have it almost ready to go. Just mix these greens in at the end. And you have a beautiful salad that combines grains, beans, and several different vegetables. It does take a little bit sometimes to get those spinach leaves all worked in there. But you end up with a beautiful salad that has a lot of nutrition in it. So this is our final product if you want to take a good look. Again, it's a beautiful salad. Lots of color, lots of good nutrition. Those are the two recipes that we're demoing for you today. When you get your packet, you will see that there is another recipe, a bonus recipe. It's a traditional tabbouleh salad. Tabbouleh is made with a grain called bulgur, pretty quick cooking grain, and it's generally got a lot of lemon flavoring in it as well as a lot of parsley. So you have 3 nice recipes for summer salads with whole grains. That's what we have for you today. Do you have any questions for us? If you do, can you please put them through the chat function? We do have people monitoring the chat function, so we can respond to any questions that you might have. Someone wants to know, if we don't want all the spice that comes with the Chipotle, what else can we do? Yes, if you don't want it spicy, you can substitute a mixture of either tomato sauce or tomato paste and some smoked paprika to get the smoky flavor. And that won't have the kind of heat that the Chipotles and Adobo has. Excellent question. What else can we help you with? So we have both of our salads up here now for you to take a look at once again. Okay, it sounds like there aren't any other questions at this time. I'm glad that you enjoyed our summer salads with whole grains. Thank you for attending, and we'll see you again on our next cooking demo.